Hi all, welcome to Salesforce in 5 minutes. In this video, we are going to learn about SOQL. Where do we write the SOQL? When do we write the SOQL? How do we write the SOQL? And why do we write the SOQL queries in Salesforce? But before getting started, if you really like my videos, I request you to please like this video as well as subscribe to my channel. So let's get started. So what an SOQL is nothing but a query language with the help of which you can pull the records out of Salesforce. Okay, if you want to query or if you want to pull the records out of Salesforce, that's where you use SOQL. Let's understand it with the old school example. Like all of us have almost learned SQL, right? Or I'm not talking about SOQL, I'm just talking about SQL. Okay, it's a very simple language in which what happens is usually we have a table just like this. I have a student table, we have a table, we create a basic table inside our database. Now if I want to query or if I want to pull the data from this table, I just write an SQL query like select star from table name, right? Or select field names from table name. It's a very simple SQL query. So over here in our case right now, student, let's say name is a field that I have created inside this SQL data or database. Okay, it's a normal database, not a Salesforce database. So name is a field. So if I want to query that field, select name from table name. Table name was student in our case. So this is how we write an normal SQL query inside SQL. Okay, but let's move on to the Salesforce term. Now, in the same way, if you want to create a table in Salesforce, you just have to create an object. Okay, so all you have to do is you just have to create an object. So standard object is an account. So instead of going ahead and writing create or whatever the table name is, you don't have to do that much. Just go ahead and create an object. So object is nothing but a simple representation of a table. If you think about it, it has three things, right? Field name, and last is field type, and finally is field value, right? These are the three things that our object has, right? Field name, field type, and field value. And there are field sizes and all these things as well, but these three things are major. So object is nothing but a simple table as well. Now in order to query the record from the table in Salesforce, you have to use SOQL. So I'll just take you to the SOQL. SOQL has a very similar syntax to that of this, like select field names from table name, or we can say object name, because table is nothing but object in our case. Now in order to write a real-time example, select id comma name from account. So here id and name are nothing but the field, and account is nothing but the object which is acting as a table, right? It's basically a table. So this is how you simply write a query. And when do you write a query? When you want to pull the data out from your table, or if you want to query the data out from your table. Now next question would be coming that where do I write this query? How do I test this query whether it is working or fine or not? I know we have to put it inside Apex classes, but where do I test this query? Before even putting it inside the Apex class, it's much more better to test your query out whether it is working fine or not. So where do I test these queries out? In order to do that, you can simply go to your developer console. In order to go to developer console, you can just go to setup, and over here you can click on developer console. As soon as you will jump to the developer console, go to the query editor. At the bottom, logs, text, checkpoints, you can find the query editor. Now here you can run all of your queries. Whatever query you have, you can run it and it will return the records, and it will return specific records as per as the need. So let's run this query. Select id comma name from account, execute. So if you see, it has written id and a name from the account. Okay, so these are nothing but the IDs of the account that we have and name of the account. If you want, you can query more fields as per as need. For an example, let's go to the object manager. Let's say owner ID, or let's say account source if I want to pull it. So in that case, you can just go over here and paste it. and execute it. So you can see account source is also query, but there is no value inside it. That's why it's not not returning anything. Now how many accounts that I have in total? I have 120 accounts in. You can see it has returned 120 accounts. So total it has returned, there are total 120 accounts within my Salesforce org, right? But this is how you write a simple query in order to query the data that you want. Now let's move on to much more advanced query. For an example, I just want this particular account 1 to be queried, right? I don't want rest of the queries. I don't want to get rest of the accounts, but instead I just want to query this specific account, that is account 1. So to do that, you can use where clause, where, okay, name, okay, where name equals to account 1. Okay, so what I have done is select id comma name from account. This much, sorry, this much is going to query every account that I have. Now if I have to go specific, I have to use a where clause, right? Where my name of the account, that is the name of the account, is equals to account 1, account 1. So if I execute this query, you can see account 1. So this is how you can use where clauses inside Apex. But what if you want to get all the accounts starting with name test or ending with name test or containing text test? In that cases, you have to use like operator. Again, I am repeating, when do we use like operator? You can understand it from over here. Like for an example, I have multiple accounts. Let's consider real-time example. I have, let's say, 500 accounts, and out of these 500 accounts, there are few accounts with name test inside it. Like for an example, account 1 test, account 2 test, Salesforce in 5 minutes test. There are certain accounts with such names. What I want to do is I want to get those accounts. I want to query those accounts only having name with test, having name containing test. So in that cases, you have to use like operator. Okay. So here you can go where name like, okay, percent test, and again percent test. And let's execute this query. You can see I have been able to retrieve all the account having test inside it. So one was test, test account, test account, test account. So using name, let's say if I remove the first percent, what happens? Let's check it out. It returned again all the account. So it what it has done is it has returned all the account with starting test and ending with anything. So percent represents anything. It starts with test and ends with anything. It can be account, account 1, new account, anything. Okay, so what this query is returning, where name like, it starts with test and ends with anything. But in case if I put put this percentage sign in the front, now what it is going to do is it's going to find the account ending with test, because percent is at the start. Percent means anything can be at the start, but at the end it should be test. So if I query it, it should not return, it returns only one account. Okay, because there was one account with name test. So this is how you can write a like query. Okay, like query is very much important if you want to find out the account containing a particular word. Okay, so like if percent is at the start, this means it is going to find the accounts uh, starting with anything but ending with test. But if percentage was at the last, this means it is going to find the account starting with test but ending with anything. On the other hand, if I put test in between both of the percentage, then it is going to find account with just name test, and it can start with anything and end with anything. Okay, so that's how you can use the like operator. The another question usually I get is that, can I directly update the record from here itself? Okay, can we update the record? Answer is yes, you can go ahead and update. Like for example, if I click on it, I can write 123. If I write it and if I click on save rows, it's just going to go ahead and update the record. So here using this, you can also, like query editor, you can also update the records as well. If you want, you can also insert the record. For an example, if you want insert my new account, you can insert the record as well. If I click on save, and not only this, automatically the ID was populated. As you can see, I inserted a new fresh account from the query editor itself. And if you want, you can also delete the particular account as per as the need. So this is what the SOQL query is. If you found this video helpful, I request you to please like this video and subscribe to my channel.